Hello, peeps and creeps, and welcome to Fright Club. I'm Gav, he's Danny.
Hello.
We're the Fright Club NI, and this is a brand new episode of Monday Night Frights. And on tonight's episode, we're heading back to Springfield for episode 5 and 6 of the Simpsons Halloween special.
Man, I love me some Treehouse of Horror.
For the next half hour, we will control what you see and hear. You are about to experience the terror and foul horror of the Simpsons Halloween special.
Well, Danny, we're back for another episode of Monday Night Frights, and we went back to Springfield.
Yes.
Big fans of the Simpsons, and we've done a few episodes before, and we thought, fuck it, let's do another Treehouse of Horror.
Another two Treehouses.
Two Treehouse of Horror, yes.
Again, a double bill.
Yeah, hopefully going forward we'll be doing double bills of Treehouse of Horror in the episodes.
It seems to work out well because there's definitely. We could happily, as we did with the first two, talk for ages about the one episode. But yeah, I feel like we get good content from watching the 6 shorts. And again, with these ones, we didn't have where the kind of first two had the kind of we connecting thing that connected there was usually like someone telling a ghost story and then there would be like a little bit between them. Now they've cut that out and it's just the shorts. There's no kind of connecting story. No bookends.
I prefer it without the bookends actually. I just like just show me the segments
straight into it.
As always, there's 3 segments in each episode of Treehouse of Horror, and the first one that we're going to talk about today is episode 5 of the Treehouse of Horror, which is season 6, episode 6 of The Simpsons.
5. Just one short.
6.
6. Episode 5. Oh,
why didn't they do? Oh well, I suppose it was because they did season first. They didn't start the season 2, so it wouldn't have worked out that way. But oh darn!
Gosh darn!
So this episode aired in October of 1994. What age were you, Danny?
I was one.
Oh my god, no!
1 and a bit. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Which were you, Gab?
I suppose I would have been 11 then. Yeah, I was 11. I actually remember watching these. I actually do remember.
I remember I was seeing like the repeats and stuff of these. But yeah, by the time I came of age to sit and watch them on Sky One on a Sunday, 7:00 that evening, you'd be sitting having your dinner and Sky One would cut on and you pop it on to be it, and then Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
Them's were the days.
Those were the days. I loved any sort of Halloween special, whether it be The Simpsons or Roseanne or any of those old TV shows, man. I loved all the Halloween specials. Just watching these again for the first time in quite a long time. It's been good few years since I've watched a lot of these Halloween specials. It's just bringing it all back, and it's just like, oh fuck.
I love it.
I remember watching these when I was a kid.
When Disney Plus first came out, I went and watched each of them. I went and watched all the Treehouse Horrors again when Disney Plus first came out because I was just so excited the fact that all the Simpsons were on there. I was like, oh, the Simpsons are all on there. And I was like, all the Treehouse of Horror is going to be on there. So I went and watched them also. But even then, you watch it again. Like I only watched 5 and 6 again today. And there's wee jokes that you kind of forget about. And when you're watching it, it tickles you all over again. Like it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you'll always be tickled by the lines. And there's some absolute crackers in these episodes.
Yeah,
man.
I think these 2 episodes out of the ones that we've done is just 2 of the best.
This one, episode 6, has one of my favorite shorts in it because it's based on one of my favorite franchises, and I'm sure you're the same. The one.
When you say episode 6, do you mean episode 6, season 6, episode 6, or Treehouse of Horror?
I mean Treehouse of Horror 6, season 7, episode 6.
6.
So yeah,
V1. Episode V1.
You know the episode. I mean, episode V1.
V1, episode V1.
Roman numerals.
Yes. No, I totally know the episode or the segment that you're talking about, and I can't wait to speak about it because it's probably one of my favorites as well.
Oh yeah, so good.
It's so good, man. And we were sort of talking briefly before we come on here about the one-liners and stuff, and I really did try to write as many down as I could because it was just like, oh, that's brilliant. I can't wait to say that. So I hope your memory's good because I know that I haven't written as many down.
There's so many. It'll probably come to me when we're talking about it, but there's just such great moments. And again, the references, like I think between the two of them, Treehouse of Horror 5, the first one is my favorite because of what it's based on, and then Treehouse of Horror 6, the middle one, is my favorite because of what it's based on, and the kind of play on the lines, classic lines and stuff that's in there, and even not necessarily playing the classic lines, the character that embodies that particular character is done so well. But again, we'll get to it. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just so excited to talk about it, man.
Brilliant. I can't wait, man. So Treehouse of Horror episode 5. We get the return of the warning, Danny. Marge comes out at the start and does the wee warning a la Frankenstein.
I forgot about this one and what it kind of leads, because you kind of expect when she comes out, you expect sort of the same thing again, but then it takes a wee turn.
What is it? The Bart interrupts or something, doesn't he?
No, it's she gets handed a note. She's going to say, I'm back again with another Halloween special, and again, we're here to warn you that it's going to be particularly scary. And then she gets the note from like stage left, comes into her hand, and she's like, "Oh, in fact, the network has told me it's that scary now that we can't even put it on, and we have to put on." Oh, what's it called?
Some old film, isn't it?
Some old Western, it's some like old-timey Western gets put on, and then Bart interrupts the broadcast, and he's like, "Don't adjust your television sets."
Yes.
Let me see. Marge warned it's Congress will not allow it to be broadcast, and the Western film 200 Miles to Oregon.
That's the one,
is shown instead, but then Bart and Homer interrupt, and it's Homer when Homer realizes what Bart's doing. He's like, "Hey, I can see my voice. This is my voice."
I know. He starts doing all the weird sounds, and the wee fucking visuals come up.
Bop, bop, bop,
class.
Bop. And then Bart's like, "Dad, you're ruining the atmosphere." I know. Such a good way to start an episode, because again, it's just everything. Bart's obviously trying to be like the spooky host for the program, which he's done before with the painting episode, where he's trying to be all somber, and Homer, just being Homer, ruins it. Just does his usual Homer thing.
Standard Homer says.
Great way to start the episode, because again, it's great that they kind of have that callback. Not even it's obviously a reference callback, but it's a callback to their own stuff as well. Then it becomes very much a part of the Simpsons lore to then just completely change it. Fantastic.
And then we go into the cemetery, which has been in every episode. And this is the last time that they go to the cemetery, apparently, because I was reading that they didn't want to keep coming up with jokes about the tombstone, so they literally have a tombstone that says "amusing tombstone."
Yeah.
But then we get a couple other wee things. We get what is it? Is Patty and Selma are being hung? No, they're being burned at the stake.
They're like witches.
Witches, and then Skinner gets guillotined, doesn't he? Bart cuts his head off. And then Mo gets hung. He's the one hanging from the tree. And then we start into the first segment, which is a segment called the Shinning.
Does it not go into the house? It goes to the graveyard and actually goes down to their house. And there's zombies. They crawl up through the ground.
Oh, we get the couch
onto the sofa. Yeah, we still get a couch gag, and it goes up, and they crawl out the sofa. And it's Matt Count Chocula groaning.
I didn't even bother looking at the names, because
there's so many.
There's so many. And they change every segment, so it's kind of hard to keep track of all the names.
It's just that one. I was like, Count Chocula.
I know, brilliant.
But yes, the Shinning.
The Shinning.
Shush! You didn't even get sued.
I know. Man, Willie's the best. He's Willie, so good.
And that he is actually both all his, because he kind of he starts in this one and then kind of does like another wee reference in the second mini of this particular one, but then in Treehouse of Horror 6, fantastic.
He's actually he's in all three segments of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, yes,
doing the same guy, because he's obviously he's Halloran, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
From the film, he gets axed in the back.
When
just when you think he's going to save everyone,
he
gets axed in the back.
Through the door, and he's like, "Give me your best shot." It's so an axe in the back.
I know.
It's so it's that bit when he's like, "You can read my thoughts, boy. You have to Shinning."
I know.
Don't you mean Shining? Shh, do you want to get sued?
I know. So good. He's so good, man.
That's excellent.
Obviously, this is based on The Shining, and it's essentially the same plot. the Simpsons go to it's Mr. Burns' mansion.
Yes.
Up a big mountain, so it's supposed to look like the Overlook Hotel.
When they're driving up and it's trying to do the whole like Shining opening, but then Homer keeps forgetting stuff, so they have to go back, and it's the next day, and then Homer's forgotten something again, so they have to go back.
I know. And then the last day, it happens 3 times. The third time, they've forgotten Grandpa. They've left him at the fucking the gas station, and they're just like, they don't even answer. They're just like, they keep driving because he's had enough.
He's Grandpa. No one cares for Grandpa. Poor Abe Simpson.
I know, he's class.
I love Abe
But
Simpson.
they go up to Mr. Burns' mansion, and obviously they're supposed to be the caretakers of this mansion. And they go in, and the first thing you see is the elevator, the classic elevator scene. And Mr. Burns says something like, the blood usually comes out on the second floor.
Yep. Blood normally gets off at the second floor.
I know. And then that's whenever groundskeeper Willie meets Bart in the hedge maze, and he said he reads his thoughts, doesn't he? Bart reads his thoughts, and he's like, "Oh, you've got your shinning."
He got the shinning.
What's the line he says, Danny? That fucking killed us.
Well, shush! You didn't want to get sued.
I know. And then he's like, "Don't read my thoughts between 4 and 5."
Oh no!
That's Willie time.
Thoughts between 4 and 5. That's Willie time.
Oh, fuck, that killed me, man.
Absolutely killed me. That's Willie time.
I know. Brilliant. So basically they settle down into the mansion, and they're they're doing their usual thing, and the whole thing is that Mr. Burns has taken off Cable.
Yes, cut the cable and taking all the beers.
Taking the beer because he knows that Homer's going to go insane when he doesn't have Cable and beer, and eventually he does go insane, and he just goes fucking mad.
Yeah, it's the bit where Marge is like, "Oh, he's written something. This will show me his innermost thoughts." And on the page, it just says, "Feeling fine."
I know.
And she's like, "Oh," and then the lightning flash, and you see it all scrawled on the walls. No beer and TV make Homer go crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact when it's that line, and I love it, whereas he goes up and he's like, "No beer and TV make Homer go something." And Marge is, "Go crazy." He's like, "Don't mind if I do." I love it.
I mean, that's classic.
It's just it sticks with you. Like, it's one of the lines you just think of the whole time when she's just like, "Go crazy," and just "Don't mind if I do," and just pulls all the faces, and he does the wee like whoop, 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 whoop noise as he's running after it. I love it. And then it's the Marge gets the baseball bat, but it's in like the emergency glass casing, and it's Breck in case of spousal insanity.
I know. It's so good. It's fucking
So
amazing.
good.
But I think even before that, where Homer goes to the bar,
Yes,
and Moe's the barman, obviously, and Moe's whispers to him, he's like, "Waste your family, and I'll give you a beer."
Aye.
And then that's what sort of triggers.
Your family, and I'll give you a beer. And it's the bit then. So Homer's obviously gone crazy, and he's chasing after Marge, and he's chasing her up the stairs, and he's doing the whole bit, like Jack Nicholson, where he's like, "Come on, give me the bat," and he starts pulling the faces, and he's like, "Ha, scaredy cat," and he pulls another face, but looks in the mirror and scares himself and falls down the stairs. And then Marge locks him in the freezer, like in the movie, but Homer's then like eating all the food in the freezer, and Moe's like, "Come on, Homer, me and the other girls have been talking, you need to kill your family," and he's like, "Can't, eating."
I know. And Jason's there, and Freddy Krueger's there, and all.
Jason, Freddy, Wolfman, Dracula, the Mummy.
Mummy, yeah.
They all the ghouls come and pull him out of the freezer to go after them.
There's a great line where Marge phones the police, and it's Wiggum, and she's like, "Oh, we need help, over." He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad that's over."
Exactly. And turns it off.
I know.
Oh, and she's just like, "There's no help coming." And then Bart's like, "Hold on, I'll use my shinning." And he like rolls his eyes. It's so good. And then Willie sitting with the wee portable TV in his hand. He's like, "The wee fat boy and his family need help."
That's when he goes and he gets fucking axed. He does the old hollering, but and then that's when he drops the TV,
Yep.
They run out in the snow and
he runs out in the snow and throws it down, and then I run straight into the house and give me a best shot and gets an axe to the back.
I know. So Homer chases him out into the snow, and you think they're going to die. Obviously, you think this is it, and then they find Willie's wee portable TV, and I think it's the news or something. There's like a news broadcast playing, and they're like, "Show Homer this," so he starts calming down once he starts watching a bit of TV.
It's the anger, murder's rage, leaving, rising, leaving, gone. Come, sit, family.
I know.
What is it he says? He's like, come and bask in television's warmingly glowy.
Yeah. Something that was like a double. He said it twice, but whatever it was, but it was something like that.
So good. And then what is it? They're all sitting, they all freeze. They all end up frozen in the snow, and then it's some awards show comes on.
It's the Tony Awards.
Tony Awards with who is it's presenting, and then Homer was
quick, turn it over.
Rage. No, he's like murder's rage raising.
He starts getting angry again.
So
who was the host? Tony Awards.
I can't mind who it is. He says hosting it, but it makes Homer want to kill again.
Yeah.
Turn it over. I can't. I'm frozen.
The best line I think was fucking either Willie timeline, or Wiggum saying, "Oh, thank God, that's over."
That's over. For me,
good.
it's Willie time cracked me up, man. Honestly, I just between 4 and 5, that's Willie time. And there's another this episode and then 6 as well have 2 cracker Willie jokes.
I know.
With reference to Willie, and it just
he's got the best lines.
He's got the best lines, and then also references to his name are some of the best.
Yeah, I think it's just the way he says them as well, obviously because he's Scottish, but it's just the way he speaks. It's just funny. It's like so Burns. Good. He's just got that funny accent.
Yep. And they kind of say, you know, it could be just the plainest thing, but because they've said it, it's so fucking good.
I know, the Shinning. So that will lead us into segment 2 of episode 5.
Yes.
Called Time and Punishment, which is obviously a play on the words of Crime and Punishment.
Yep.
By Dostoevsky, but it's I think it was based on Ray Bradbury's one of his short stories, Sound of Thunder, where it was basically like the butterfly effect. You know, if you kill a butterfly, you know, in the future, smallest little thing might change the biggest thing, and it's that whole idea of changing something by doing something very small.
It's how this one opens, where Homer's like, he's been really like genuine. He's saying like, you know, I was just thinking how great it is to live in this country with my family, and I feel really grateful for it. Yeah. And Lisa's just like, Dad, your hand's stuck in the toaster.
I know. It's so random.
It's
so random. But the best bit is when he tries to get it off and he's, it's still in there.
It's in there again, Dad.
I know,
so it's so weird. It's so good.
The plot of this was he gets his hand stuck in the toaster and he breaks the toaster, so he tries to fix it.
Yep.
And by fixing it, he
makes a time machine.
Turning it into a time machine. And he goes back fucking thousands and millions of years, actually. He goes back to the Jurassic period, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes back to the dinosaurs. But back before dinosaurs were in zoos.
Aye. Fuck's sake.
So there's a nice, actually, even before that, there's a nice wee bit of music, which is like a little homage to Jurassic Park, you know, when it's kind of panning across all the dinosaurs, and he just comes out with that line about dinosaurs and zoos, and I was like, beautiful. Fucking love me a Jurassic Park reference.
We love it, man. It's fucking great.
Oh, good. And then it's he's like, it's the fact that, and then he's like, oh, I gotta think back to what my dad told me on my wedding night. And it's a little flashback of Grandpa Simpson saying, if you ever travel back in time, don't kill anything, don't stand on anything, don't do anything, or you'll mess with the future.
I know.
It's just like,
what a coincidence that he said that.
Yeah.
On your wedding night, and this is actually happening now. What a coincidence. So basically he goes back, he kills a mosquito, isn't it? That's the first thing he does.
What is it he says about was it? He squishes. He goes, "Bug, go squish now!" He squishes the mosquito, and then he's like, "Oh, surely that was just one little bug would have done it." And there's a giant sloth just walking past, and it's like,
Ooh. I know. Actually, reminded me of Dark Crystal.
Well, the big
You know
sloth.
you know the big fucking
The Striders.
the Skeksis, and then you've got the other ones with the big fucking
The Mystics.
the Mystics.
Yeah.
Sort of reminded me of that a wee bit because it was just like big lumbering thing.
Big lumbering thing. Just,
I know.
I just had big lumbering giant three-toed sloth. Man, I loved dinosaurs and prehistoric stuff back in the day.
I know.
I absolutely loved all that. Walking with dinosaurs, walking with beasts.
What do you mean back in the day? Fucking still love dinosaurs. Come on,
true.
Danny.
This is true. They're
not just for fucking kids.
Now, to be fair, like I probably couldn't name you half of them that I could have when I was away in.
Aye.
That information is lost, but I'd still happily sit and watch Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Beasts, man.
Brilliant.
Such good series, like. But we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about
Simpsons.
So Homer kills the mosquito, and then the toast pops. That's it. He goes back to the future. He goes back to the future when the toast pops up again. And when he gets home, he finds it seems normal at first until the TV comes up out of the ground, and it turns out that Ned Flanders is the overlord of the world.
Yeah, he's like in charge of the world. And he's still Ned. He's still doing his wee sort of.
He's still doing the Ned Flanders thing.
Dougly, but he's like a really bad leader.
He's got a Homer speaks ill of him, and he's like, "Oh, looks like someone's got to go back for some re-education."
I know. And education. What is it? They all start wearing his clothes, don't they?
They have to wear his clothes, and then they're forced to smile. They get like the things to make them all smile again. It's when Homer's got it in, and he turns and looks at the guy beside him. He's like, "Why are you smiling at?"
Aye, that's right. Aye, and there was it. He's like, "Let the hooks do their thing."
Yeah,
and the hooks are like pulling their skin back,
pulling the smiles, and then they have to. They go for a frontal lobotomy.
That's right.
They have to go and get a frontal lobotomy. And
Mo gets one first.
He's like, "It's not that bad, Homer," and they let you keep the bit to take out. Isn't that right, little guy?
No, we jar.
And it's the bit that kills me about this is Marge and the kids have just had it done. Homer's screaming, and he goes to run away. He's running back home, and they set the dogs on him. And he's like, "I know what'll help," and pulls out sausages from his pocket.
Wieners.
He's like, "These wieners will give me the energy I need to run faster."
I know. And then he does run faster.
He does run faster.
He escapes then after that, and he manages to go back, doesn't he?
He gets back to the house, and he pops the toast down again, and he starts like a T-Rex chases him, and he's running away, but he's like trying to jump over everything. And then he thinks he's got away with it. He's like, "Right, I haven't squished anything, everything's okay." But then he like stumbles back and falls on his bum and lands on like a fish that's just coming out of water. It's just like evolving to walk on land, and he sits on it, and he's like, oh why did I squish that fish?" It's so good. And then it pops, and then the toast pops after he lands on the fish, and he gets back, and it's not the giants.
This is the one where he's like a bug size, and Bart and Lisa are giants.
And they're like, "Hey, there's a bug that looks like Dad," and Bart's like, "Do you want to eat him?" And Lisa's like, "Yes." Lisa's voice is really weird in that bit where she's like a giant. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice it.
It's really like gravelly. It doesn't sound like Lisa. It sounds like somebody last minute must have had to do the dubbing for that particular scene.
Maybe.
It's still the Bart voice, but Lisa's just like, "Yes." You're just like, where the fuck did that come from?
I didn't catch that.
I was just like, that was a really weird Lisa voice right there. But yeah, and then Homer just very quickly pings his toaster again. And is this what happens in this one? Oh, he sneezes. This T-Rex goes for him again, and he sneezes, and Simpsons called it. Homer spread coronavirus to dinosaurs, and all the dinosaurs died.
That's right, they all die. They all just fall over, don't they?
They all start sneezing on each other, and they drop down one by one. And then the toast goes again, and Homer comes back to the idealized home.
Yes.
They're all, very affluent and wealthy, and they're sitting, eating proper dinner. And Maggie's got a jewel on the end of her pacifier, and Bart brings over the paper to Homer and calls him father, very respectful. And then Homer goes, "Marge, dear, would you pass me a donut?" She's like, "What's a donut?" And he just starts screaming.
He does that Homer scream.
The classic Homer scream.
That's the worst thing that's happened. That's way worse than him being a bug.
Yep. Is the
best thing about that episode is whenever he leaves, it starts raining donuts.
It starts, and she's just like, "Oh, if you just waited a minute."
Yeah. She's just like, "Oh, it's raining again." It's just like loads and loads of donuts
raining from the sky.
Brilliant.
Class.
Fucking great gag. What a gag.
And then, by that point, Homer's fed up when he gets back to the dinosaurs then, and he's just going around like smashing everything. Everything's getting squished and beat and just ruined. And then he goes back and everything seems to... Or no, he goes to... There's one more time, because is there not one... He goes to go back first, and Willie's there, and Willie's like, "I know how to get you back to your own time, Homer." And then he falls down flat, and Maggie's sitting on his back with the axe. Takes her dummy out and goes, "This is truly a disturbing time."
James Earl Jones. So good. Have to get James Earl Jones in there somewhere. I think he's been in every episode of Treehouse of Horror so far.
Has he?
He's definitely been in a couple.
He's been in a couple, yeah. But man, that bit killed me, because again, it's a reference to Willie from The Shinning.
Mm-hmm, The Shinning.
And just Maggie. This truly is a disturbing time. Killed me,
there's a wee bit in there as well where we see our old friends Kang and Kudos.
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh, foolish earthlings."
Yes.
And
they know how to use time travel, and it's Pee-wee, Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Oh yes, Sherman Peabody. Yes,
Sherman Peabody is like the pop culture reference in this one, because when Homer's first fallen through time, he's like, "Oh, I'm the first non-Brazilian to travel through time." And then Peabody and Sherman appear and say, "The second." And then Sherman goes to say something to Mr. Peabody, and he's just like, "Shut up."
But isn't it Kang and Kudos change into
them
too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a result of some sort of
timey-wimey thingy.
Yeah, thingy-mabobs. And then we get loads of times where back and forth we see a bit of a montage where Homer goes back.
Outside the house.
We see the house change all these times.
There's the Flintstones house. There's an In-N-Out Burger. There's an Under the Sea.
There's like a Sphinx as well.
There's like Bart with Bart's face.
Yeah.
So there's loads of, so obviously he's like going back and forth quite a lot. And then we get the final time, and it's back in the kitchen, and everything seems nice and normal. And they're all sitting down to breakfast. And then Marge's tongue flicks out. Big lizard tongue.
Big lizard.
I know. It's just Homer by that point. It's just like,
fuck it. I don't care.
And he's just like eating as quick as they are with the fork. And that's it. It's just great. Another fantastic moment. Again, one of these episodes that focuses mostly on Homer. And I mean, if you're going to have any, I think my favorite episodes are the ones that primarily focus on Homer.
Well, Homer's
they're usually the ones.
One of probably the best character in the show overall. Like obviously, like I love Willie. I love Willie. Ooh. I love Mr. Burns. I think Burns is my favorite, but
but they're all sort of side characters.
Yeah.
They all kind of play in to Homer shenanigans, or Willie normally plays into what's going on with the kids, because it's normally like a school thing. My favorite was Ralph Wiggum, but again, he normally appears alongside like the Bart and Lisa episodes. But Mr. Burns will always be about for the Homer ones, because apart from Who Killed Mr. Burns, that's a whole saga right there.
That's great, a great episode. But we'll move on to segment 3 then of this episode. And it's called Nightmare Cafeteria.
Nightmare Cafeteria.
Which is, a throwback to, what was that?
Is it Soylent Green? No?
Soylent Green, that's the one, yeah. Soylent Green. And there was another thing where it was sort of loosely based on as well. Something cafe. Nightmare? Not Nightmare Cafe, but All Night Cafe or something. It was like one of those Tales from the Dark Side type things. Yeah. But this one is basically about, this is a great one too. That's hilarious. So really sort of dark and sinister, I thought.
Yeah, really, really sinister, but also like hilarious the way they're getting on. with the whole it's Seymour in this one, and some of the stuff he's come out with, and he's like, you could say we ate
Aye.
what was it?
All the puns.
Udder, all the food
Aye,
puns are
Udder.
fantastic.
It's we've had our fill of Udder or something like that. He says.
You could say we've eaten all of Udder.
Yeah.
And he kind of realized he said too much. Then he's just like, well, you gotta go.
He's like, oh, scratch that last one, and then he walks off. But yeah, the whole plot of this one is that Skinner he's got an issue with detention that's overpopulated.
Overpopulated detention room, and they're all in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
But then they can't get they can only get F grade meat.
Oh, that was brilliant.
It's like F grade meat, circus animals, and filler.
Yeah, I know, that was brilliant. Who's the dinner lady called? Jody or June, the dinner lady or something. Anyway, she's complaining because she doesn't have any good meat. Yep. So Skinner comes up with this idea that he's going to use the kids in detention and kill two birds with one stone. And Jimbo's the first one, isn't he?
Jimbo's the first to go, yeah. And they have the Jimbo burger?
Aye.
And he's was it Miss Kerbobble? It's like, did we just eat Jimbo? And it's the way Skinner's just like, and she just does her classic Edna Krabappel laugh, that such a, again, Edna Krabappel, amazing character. And I remember when it came out, the voice actress had passed away, who did her, and it was just like, no one else could do Edna, she such a fantastic, iconic laugh for a character as well, She's
got some good lines as well. Like, I say, me and Janine have been rewatching The Simpsons from the start, and she's been watching it a bit more than me, but, she's underrated as a character, I think. Obviously, it's mostly Bart and Lisa involved in her stories, or she's involved in their stories, but great character.
Fantastic character, and I love it's the kind of moving away from Treehouse here, but the episode where it comes out that her and Skinner have been seeing each other, and they're caught in the closet, and Ralph Wiggum is like, they were making a baby in the closet, and the baby came out of her and it winked at me. That's me, man. Every time I think of it, just that I was in that line from Ralph Wiggum. It winked at me. Oh my god, fucking kills me.
But
Alfie's one of my favorites.
Yeah, basically all the teachers are in on the joke here, are in on the plan to get rid of the kids. And Jimbo's the first one, and then Utter's the second one.
Because they have the Utterverse.
The Utterverse, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the teacher, like, there's a scene where there's only a few kids left, and the teacher Edna's like, she's sort of getting fat.
She's obese, yeah. She's like huge. And was it?
She's like her lips and all.
It's the wee albino wee. What do you call him?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. The wee pale boy.
He drops his pen.
She's like,
detention. It's the way she says it. She's like, detention, but you can tell she's just looking at him like ready to eat.
But she's reading a book called The Joy of Cooking Millhouse.
That's it.
Millhouse is shitting himself.
Oh my god, it's so fun.
And then what happens next? Bart sort of sneaks out, and he goes into, I assume it's the kitchen or the canteen, and he sees all the kids in the cages.
Yeah,
and there's one of them playing a harmonica, like prison. He's like, "Ooh, fucking playing the harmonica," and then they obviously get found out, and the teachers realize that Bart and the kids are here, and Willie gets axed again. Yep. Willie's like, "I'll save you." As he gets axed in the back. Who is it that axes? Is it Edna? I can't remember.
Remember if it's Edna or Seymour? But they all come after them, basically. They've all got different like weapons, like a meat tenderizer, and I think one of them's got like a whisk, in the hand turn whisks, and they've all cooking utensils ready to take these kids out. And was it they walk them into like a big meat processor?
It's like a big factory, and it's like fucking Mordor. It's like when Frodo was walking out with the ring. It's like a big platform that comes out, and instead of the fire below, it's like a big blender,
big meat grinder.
And they turn it up like to the highest point. Yep. I just thought this episode was really fucking dark, man. It's really kind of like pushing the boundaries.
Imagine if it hadn't been a cartoon and it was live action. It was about grown-ups eating kids. It would be absolutely sinister and horrifying. But because of Simpsons,
I know they're allowed to do whatever they can. They need to do like. So they get to the platform, and I think it's Lisa says something like, no, it's Bart actually says, "Oh, we'll be fine. we always get out of these situations, and then Milhouse falls in and dies, and then they're like, oh, something will happen. I'm sure we'll get out of it somehow. They can't kill the Simpson kids, and then they both fall in, and that's basically the end of it. But then we find out it's just a nightmare, and Bart kind of wakens up.
But it was all just a dream.
It was all just a nightmare.
It was just a dream.
But the end of that episode is a very strange end because, was it Marge says something about the fog that
it's the fog that turns you inside out.
I know, and then they literally turn inside out their skin.
It's when just as they're turning, Homer's just like cheap weather stripping. He gets flipped inside.
And then there's a big mad musical number at the end.
There's a musical number to finish off, and then Willie comes in again. We get to see Willie again, but he's inside out this time.
I think I was reading a little bit about that, and the guy that wrote or directed the episode said that he wanted to end it like over the top musical because he knew it was quite sinister and dark, and he didn't want it, to
be too
kind of offend anybody. But I was actually reading as well. There was a scene that they cut from this episode, and it was to do with the twin girls. Is it Sherry and Terry?
Oh yes,
They were supposed to be victims as well, and their meal, whenever they killed them and butchered them, their meal was teriyaki with sherry sauce. And I was just like, why did they cut that? That's fucking brilliant.
Cut that? That would have been.
But I can just imagine like the writers just sitting down going, right, what meals can we make from the kids in The Simpsons? And like, I'm sure there was a list of loads of different things that they had that they couldn't put in, but that was great. What other ones could they have done? I don't know, maybe Ralph something. I can't think of. If you think of any other,
if you can think, comment below. Let us know. We'll try and think of some. Put on the Twitter. But man, I love it. I love the Utherfest, the bratwurst, amazing. And Jimbo burgers.
That was a smart one, like the Jimbo burgers was a smart one too. But yeah, they could have done a lot more, I think. But
100%. I suppose they have the constraints of time to think about and all. But that teriyaki with the sherry sauce, I'd have died. I'd have absolutely killed me, man.
When I read it, I was just like, oh, that was so good. That would have been great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they only have a certain amount of time, but 3 great segments, really good episodes. But the next one is even better. Yeah, class. 3 really good segments, like probably 3 of the best segments in any overall episode, I think. It's in episode 6 or V1, Treehouse of Horror. It's season 7, episode 6. It aired in October '95. You were 2.
I was 2.
I was 12.
Yeah. Well, everybody now knows.
We know. I know. But we're still going to do it every single episode if we can.
Of course.
And this one doesn't start off with any sort of warning or cemetery thing, or it doesn't. Does it even have a couch gag? Did it have a couch gag? I can't remember. Oh, it did. It did. It starts off with Krusty the Headless Horseman.
Yes.
And then he's running, and then when they go into the house, it's them. They just fall as if they're being hung from trees, which again is like fucking hell.
Quite sinister.
That's like Jesus. That's
just a straight up hanging. There's no other kind of horror-y reference or anything there. That's just hanging.
The first segment is called "Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores," which is clearly a rip on the kind of classic B movie Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, or that kind of idea. And this one is about all the kind of advertisement, the statues and all, the big giant statues that are advertising.
It's all the advertising.
They all come to life.
All because Homer wanted a donut.
I know. There's a storm. There's an ionic storm, Danny.
Ionic storm.
Stop blaming fucking Homer for everything.
But it was Homer's fault.
I know, but Homer wanted a colossal donut.
A colossal donut like the one outside.
Which I've actually had a colossal donut in Springfield in Universal. And it's fucking massive. It's like this size. Well, I tell that.
Was it as big as Lord Lad's?
It's not as big as Lord Lad, but I've seen Lord Lad because he's one of the statues in
And did he come alive and try and wreck the
He didn't know, but he sort of was giving me the eyes.
No ionic storms that day.
He was looking at me. No, it was a nice day. But we had bought this big colossal donut because it was like, oh, we have to go into the shop, and obviously we have to. And we bought all kind of a few other Simpson iconic kind of stuff that you see in the Quickie Mart and stuff.
It's the place to do it.
But we couldn't fucking eat it because we ended up walking to City Walk, which is on the way out of Universal Studios in Florida. And we went to Voodoo Donut, which is a shop that had just opened recently in City Walk, and they do all these cool different types of donuts. And we knew we were going there because it was one of the stops that we wanted to do. So we were like, right, we'll stop in and get, a box of donuts. And they do coffins, like a coffin of donuts.
Oh yes,
you get like 24 donuts. I don't think we got 24. I think we got 12.
Yeah.
And we went back to the hotel. We were going out for dinner with my sister that night, but we went back to the hotel and we had a few donuts and before we got showered and ready. And we couldn't fucking eat the colossal donut because we were so full. And I think the next day, it was still sitting there, and the next day we were like, fuck, I really want to eat that, but
you know, breakfast
I can't eat it.
Man, I would have breakfast.
No, man, but I think it was all.
And it started to go a bit stale.
And we still had a few of the Voodoo donuts left, and we kind of wanted to get rid of them. And it was just like, I think we maybe had one bite or something, but we couldn't eat it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we bought a big colossal donut, and it was class, and it's class, man.
Did it have the pink frosting and sprinkles and all on?
If we got a picture of it, I'm sure we have a picture of it somewhere. I'll maybe put it up on the Twitter or the Instagram, but I can't wait to go back to Springfield and Universal Studios. Man. If anyone's been to Springfield and Universal Studios, Florida, please leave some comments and let us know what you thought of it, and even post up some pictures or whatever, because it's class.
I'll be so jealous. I'd love to go, man. I would really, really like to go. I haven't been yet, so
you should try to get, man.
When the world gets back to rights and we can start traveling again, one of my places to go will be Florida to visit Universal and Disney. Let's
go and see. Go and get a Duff beer.
Oh, I have had Duff beer. We did. I was when I was at uni, and me and my mate had been out. We were just trying a few of the different bars in Port Stewart, and we got to a wee one down the far end of the promenade called the Icebox. And we'd had a few pints in there, and we were chatting away to the barman. And he goes, "Oh, do you like The Simpsons?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's cool." And all, wondering what he was doing, asking us why did we like The Simpsons for. He goes, "Well, I followed Duff beer to get rid of here. We were sent it as like a promotional thing, just to try out, see if we wanted to sell it in the bar. I'll give it to you £1 a bottle." So we were like, right, wow. No bother. So me and my mate left with a bag each full of Duff beers.
You still got any of the bottles?
No. We were wrote off, and I think we must have dropped like 4 of them on the walk home because we were just full, and just walking along with these plastic bags of bottles of beer, just being like, yeah, a couple of goolies.
These were Barneys.
We were a pair of Barneys, exactly.
Fucking just falling, face planting in the fucking pavement and burping.
Burping all over the show. But I know, Duff beer for £1.
You can actually, at Universal, you can go into Moe's Tavern, and Barney is there at the bar, and you can sit beside him, get a picture with him. No, it's fucking, honestly, it's class. We only had one day, and we were doing other things in Universal, so we really should have spent a bit longer at Springfield. And hopefully, if we go back again in a couple of years, we'll have a bit of time to kind of go around it a bit more. But it's really, really awesome. But anyway, back to the fucking episode.
Yes.
So this one, it's based, as we said, it's based on kind of classic B movie. All these big giants, advertisement billboards, statues come to life. Mr. Peanut's in there, and
Mr. Peanut comes to life.
Obviously, the Lord lad. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. He steals a donut from them, and he gets angry and starts fucking breaking all the shops and buildings, and
they all start going crazy and destroying everything. Lord lad's trying to get his donut back. But the thing that cracks me up is the news presenter. He gets eaten by a giant version of himself.
That's right. Yeah.
The Channel 6 News billboard that has him on, the giant version of him comes to life off it and eats him mid newscast.
He's reporting, and I think that one of the best ones was the ones with the giant heads.
The giant head, the Zip Boys or something.
Yeah, but they've got like little legs, and they're dragging their heads.
And it's the wee man that owns the business comes out, and he's like, "Where do you think yous are going? Don't scratch those heads."
It was.
It's later on when you see them. You see them later on again, and they've all got trolleys, and their wee heads are in the trolleys.
One of the best lines in the whole thing is whenever Otto's driving the bus, all the kids are in it, and he sees everything coming to life, and he's like, "Oh, I must be having an acid trip, man." He's like, "I'm glad I'm not driving a bus today." Oh, fucking brilliant.
And it's the devil, the big devil's holding, lifts them up. And it's a bit later on when the devil's like walking along and Bart's on his shoulder. And Bart's like, you should destroy the school. And then he like runs around the other side and he's like, I agree with him. And the devil's just like...
I was saying about the fucking... the auto line, but actually the whole segment led up to the best moment was whenever Wiggum shot the guy, which isn't great because, you know, obviously of all the shootings and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially,
but
you know, the cop.
Yeah.
Cops shooting people, you know, that's not a good thing now. But the big tall guy runs out of the bar and he just shoots him. He's like, I got one.
I got one. They could be killed. And then the other police officers with him is like, that was the leader of the school basketball team. He wasn't a monster, and he's like, well, he was becoming one.
I know. So good, man. It was just fucking brilliant.
Chief Wiggum, like
Wiggum's great.
So good.
But the only way that they can stop these monsters is Lisa finds out the best way to do it is by just don't look.
Just don't look.
They get Paul Anka to write a song.
Yep. Write a jingle.
Just don't look, and they get basically the whole fucking town to pretend that they're not there and turn away. And if they don't look at them, they'll just kind of fade away and die.
Yeah, that's it. Because she goes to the advertising agency that's built them all, and the fella who runs it's just like, as with any advertisement, once you ignore it, it goes away. But it's before that. It's just before that happens when Lisa sees the footprint of Lard Lad. It's because Lard Lad has come to the Simpson house, and he's knocked on the door, and Homer answers it, and he's like, I don't have your donut. Flanders has it. Next door. So Lord Lad goes over and destroys Flanders' house, and you see Flanders run by being like, save me, God. And he comes back and knocks on Homer's door again. He's like, I told you it was Flanders or Mo. Go kill Mo.
And then he just runs down and doesn't he hit all the houses or stuff when he's run down?
Does Marge not say, give him back his donut? Like, and then they're like, oh, that'll be it now, it'll be over. And then Lord Lad just starts destroying everything with his donut, and then he kicks a dog. Bastard.
That's right, yeah.
Bastard.
Annoyed me.
He punts a dog off into space, and you're just like, what a fucking bad Lord.
What have we said about violence against fucking
We
dogs?
hate it. Even animated dogs. Don't fuck with dogs.
Nah, man.
Don't do it. Just
fuck that Lord fucker.
Lord bastard.
I know. So they sing the jingle at the end, and everything works out okay. And
well, except Homer, they're like, oh, they're all dying except for one.
Oh,
Dad, stop looking. Yeah, because it's like the Lord Dad has a sign that says with added sprinkles, and he's like teasing Homer with the donut, and they have to like pull Homer away.
It's kind of, I mean, obviously it's a funny episode, but it's kind of important. It's kind of like saying that obviously advertisement and stuff, you know, it consumes people's lives. Consumerism consumes your life, and that's, you know, an adult lesson. I think that is kind of cool about these, you know. If you look deep enough, there is lessons in a lot of these, and we spoke about them before in other ones as well. So that's the lesson for today, folks. Don't be obsessed with consumerism and things, you know. There's more important things to life than just fucking sprinkled donuts.
Exactly. I mean, if somebody offered me a sprinkled donut right now, though, to be fair,
man, I'm not joking. I would fucking kill for one of those colossal donuts in Universal now.
I'm pure hankering for a wee donut now, man.
I know.
Next episode we'll have to come on with some donuts.
Can you order donuts from Just Eat or fucking Deliveroo or anything?
Probably have to be in Belfast or something. Taboo donut. No, Taboo donut maybe in Belfast would be your best bet, or Tim Hortons. Actually, there's Tim Hortons in Cookstown. Can I be ours 15 minutes out to get donuts?
You're not far from there, No, fuck you.
Tomorrow.
If I can't have donuts, you can't have donuts, Danny.
Oh, but I want one.
I know. I want it. But I want a donut. Right, on to the next segment.
Oh, my favorite. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
So good.
It's a cracker.
Nightmare on Evergreen Street.
Evergreen Street. I think we have mentioned before
yes,
that this is one of my favorite Treehouse of Horrors because we get Groundskeeper Willie as Freddy Krueger. And fuck me, I love it, and it's fantastic. And I mean, Freddy Krueger still maintains his williness, but has those fantastic Freddy Krueger one-liners.
Yeah.
And like that is such a well put together, like it's not even a satire of Freddy Krueger, it's an homage to Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
It's so, I feel like it's the most respectful way to rip on, like, I mean, yes, there's Scary Terry from Rick and Morty, but again, it's a real like basic version of Freddy. It's a real basic take on Freddy Krueger, whereas Willie as Freddy Krueger was just fucking beautiful, man.
I thought he was very predatory.
Yeah.
Well, he is a bit predatory in a lot of episodes, isn't he? He's got some just.
He can be. It's the episode where he's got to go into he's got to go into the air ducts to get Santa's little helper, remember? And he rips his shirt off.
Aye.
And he turns to the dinner lady and he's like, "Grease me up, woman."
I know.
He's gonna slide into the air ducts. Man, Willie, what a fucking character. But this is one of my favorite Willie moments.
Yeah.
Is him as Freddy.
It's definitely the best Willie moment. But yeah, so basically it's just a copycat of Nightmare on Elm Street. Bart has a nightmare.
The Dream Warrior.
Yeah, they
Dream
do.
Warrior reference and stuff.
They sort of take a little bit from Dream Warriors too, you know, when they do the wizard part, which is in Dream Warriors, and the way Freddy sort of morphs it, even later ones where Freddy can morph into things, which kind of happens a little bit later on. But basically, yeah, Bart has a nightmare about Willie, and then he finds out that other kids have had the same nightmare.
It's the opening of this, because the animation is so bright, it's almost Looney Tunes like the anime, because it opens and if you haven't seen it before, you kind of do wonder, you're like, this isn't animated like the Simpsons, you know, it is the Simpsons, but it's not
the dream world,
and it's just it's very bright and Looney Tuny, and you know, even the motions are a bit more animated, even though yes, it's an animation, but it's a turned up a notch. It's when the frisbee hits Bart in the head, and he gets the birds around the head, and the cat or the wee coffins come up in his eyes. And then we get to see Willie, and I think this is the only time he actually has the Freddy outfit on. Is in that first stream, and then after that he's wearing either his Willie outfit or he's turned into something.
He's changed into the machines.
What's the one liner he says to Bart? Something about wreck.
He's like, fuck, I should have written it down. I knew you should have written this one down.
Because I remember the one he says to Martin. I remember that one because it killed me, what he says to Martin.
What's it he says to Martin?
So Martin's doing all the Latin. He's like reading off Latin, and he's
Martin's like a wizard, isn't he?
Yeah, he calls himself something of dictation and all, and you know, he's saying off the Latin for he's dead, she's dead, and then Willie comes off and says Mortis, you dead. And he goes, you've mastered a dead tongue, but can you handle a live one? His tongue goes like,
that's right, it's a big
his tongue goes wriggling off after him and is choking him.
Yes.
And then Martin's like choking in the classroom.
Martin's in the classroom, so it's that whole thing of he's having a nightmare in the classroom. And he gets choked by Freddy's tongue. Yeah, and it's class, and it's brilliant. The scene after that's brilliant because Martin's dead. He's lying on the fucking the gurney.
It's like, get him out of here! Don't let the kids see.
And then when they pull him out, the sheet falls, and he's like, and they're all fucking screaming. That's so good.
So I'm trying to see if I can find that quote that Willie says to Bart when he sees him because he's going to wreck. And he says something.
It's nice to wreck your acquaintance, is it, or something like that?
Oh, I think you might be right. It's slashed. No, this doesn't have the quote, but he slashes them with the wreck, and I think it is. It's something like nice to wreck your acquaintance. And they're in school the next day, and Bart's telling Lisa about the dream. I had a dream, the groundskeeper Willie, and then Lisa's like, "Oh, me too." And then Milhouse and all the other kids start to join, and it's Nelson Muntz comes up, and he's like, "He ran me over with his floor buffer."
And he's shiny. Brilliant. But
and Lisa hedge trimmers got Lisa, and she's cut off two of her wee triangles. And it's the way Skinner then comes over and he's like, I was monitoring your conversation, children, and just to let you know that no one knows what happened to Willie, and he just disappeared under no mysterious circumstances.
Obviously, Willie's not there, but you find out when Marge says something like, she mentions Willie, and Bart and Lisa's like, "Oh, we didn't say it was Willie. What are you talking about?" And then that's
right,
where you get the flashback of what happened to Willie.
They come home and they're like, "Oh, Martin Prince died in school today," and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sure it's nothing to do with groundskeeper Willie."
That's it. That was it.
They're just like, we never said anything about groundskeeper Willie, but yeah, we get the flashback. It's like,
my God, this flashback killed me.
It's so funny, man. It's the way this was my second. Remember, I said earlier about the second Willie thing.
I know what you're going to say
with the thermostat, and he's like, "Don't touch Willie." Good advice.
That's good advice. And he turns it right up.
Don't touch Willie.
Because it's don't touch, comma Willie.
Yeah, Willie, but he just don't touch Willie. Good advice.
Fucking brilliant. And Willie's down there just chilling in the boiler room. And obviously Homer turns up the thermostat and the fucking heat goes mad and it ends up burning away alive. And but they can't hear him because they're voting on fucking some weird calendar.
There was the calendar. Oh no, what is it? They said it's on the way in. Marge is telling them just before the flashback starts. Marge goes, "It was the 13th day of the 13th month, and we were heading to your school for PTA meeting or whatever." And it's they walk in, they see the calendar, and it's Homer's like, "Oh, was it freezing smarch?" Smarch.
There was a spelling error in the calendar. That's what it was.
It was the 13th month. Smarch. I think we should adopt Smarch.
That should be a thing. That has to be a thing, definitely.
The 13th day of the 13th month. And then was it? They're voting on. So we'd been called to the school to vote on the misprint calendars, but then they're also voting on other stuff like spending. And what is it they say? They're like, vote on spending money on repairing all the doorknobs in the school, and everyone shouts nay, and Willie's trying to get out the room and the doorknob flies off.
I know.
And then he goes to pick up the fire extinguisher, and they're like, vote on replacing all the fire extinguishers. This is a free service from the fire department. Nay.
I know.
Because to spray himself and nothing comes out. And then he busts out of the room and he goes to run in shouting help me, and Skinner's just like, "Willie, we're voting now. Sit down and wait your turn."
It's
was it
Milhouse's dad's
Milhouse's dad. Milhouse, was it he's called? Let me have a feeling.
I can't remember his first.
I can't mind his name. But yeah, Mr.
Van Houten.
Mr. Van Houten has the floor right now, and he's saying, "Oh, I want parents should have more say in the school dinner menus. I'm worried about Milhouse having 2 spaghetti dishes in one day."
I know.
And Willie's just sitting there like screaming.
He's basically he's burning alive, and then he sits down.
Yeah,
he's waiting, and he turns into a skeleton.
He turns into the fiery skeleton with the pure burning red eyes.
Yeah,
man, that's a terrifying image. Like if it wasn't for the fact that what's going on around him is quite funny. Like it's quite terrifying. Then I'm going to seek revenge on you all. In the one place you can't protect your kids. Their dreams.
And then he burns dust. Then he sweeps
himself up. He sweeps himself up. He's still groundskeeping.
He's still he groundskeeps himself
from the grave. Puts himself in a wee bin.
So good. So good. Class. But it starts all kicking off whenever there's a Bart's outside, and then Willie turns into the fucking like big plow machine.
He turns. Was it? They're trying to stay awake. They're drinking all the coffee and stuff, and then they start falling asleep. And Bart's like, "Right, I'm just gonna have to take him on. If you start to fall asleep, wake me." And then he turns into like a big grass plow, or no, combine harvester. It's a combine harvester. Aye,
it's a big fucking blades. I couldn't remember the name of it.
It's a combine harvester, and then it turns out Lisa's fallen asleep as well.
As she comes into the dream.
And then he turns into a bagpipe spider.
The combine chases him, but Bart's built like a sandbox trap. So he falls into the sand, and he changes into like different figures and stuff.
Yeah.
What was that from? That's from
I don't even think.
Is it Terminator? Whenever the Terminator 2, whenever he's melting, he changes it more into all the people he's been, basically. Kind of reminded me of that. But he's fallen into the sandbox and he's like, sinking sand. He falls out and then they think he's gone, but they get that great shot, and it was a fucking great shot of Bart just sitting in a sandbox, and then you see Willie coming up, and he's like a spider. He's a bagpipe.
He's a bagpipe spider.
The next spider that comes up, and it's fucking great, man.
So good.
Iconic.
And then it's Maggie ends up saving the day. She shoves her dummy into one of his bagpipe pipes.
One of his holes.
One of his holes blocks up Willie's hole.
Hello.
And he ends up getting too filled with air and explodes.
Just blows up,
and Maggie saves the day, saves them all.
Brilliant.
And then they say they're like, oh, it's over, and he's not going to be able. Or is it? He's not going to be able to get us any other way, and gets off the bus with a gun.
That's right. At the very end.
At the very end, he gets up, and then. He gets hit? No, he doesn't get hit by a car.
No, he just runs. He's left his gun on the bus.
That's right. He's left his gun on the bus, and he's like, ah.
He runs off, and then his shoe flies off, and he's just chasing the bus. And it ends. That's the way it basically ends. But yeah, excellent segment. Love a bit of Willie Krueger.
Willie Krueger is the best, and that line about you've mastered a dead tongue, but can you handle a live one? Killed.
Do not touch Willie.
Do not touch Willie. Good advice.
Brilliant. So we'll move on to the last segment of the episode, and this is again, man. This when I watched this segment, I was just like, it just brought me back the memories of seeing it for the first time. Blew my mind.
Yep, I remember because I actually didn't see this as part of the episode first. The first time I saw this was, do you remember the Dunluce Centre in Portrush? It used to have, it had like all different wee activity things, but they had like a wee 3D cinema with the moving seats and all, the seats that like tip forward and back and side to side and stuff. And they would show, usually you'd pay something like a $5 in, and it would show like 2 short movies with the seats moving and all in the 3D experience and stuff. But this was one of the times we went. This was one of the short movies that was put on because of the 3D segment of it. So it was actually shown as part of this like 3D cinema experience. So this is what when I see this particular one, this is what I think of.
Did you have 3D glasses though?
Yeah. No, you had you put on the proper like old school 3D glasses, and you'd sit in your wee seat and it would move about and tip you forward and back and all. And yeah, one of the ones it normally was like a dinosaur adventure, an undersea adventure. It's normally, those sort of animal-y, sort of adventure type things. But no, there was one time where they were showing just this one particular segment of The Simpsons because it had that 3D animation in it. They were able to do 3D.
It's brilliant. It's set all around Homer as the main character once again. And it's based on a Twilight Zone episode, as many of these segments are. Little Girl Lost, I think, is the name of the Twilight Zone episode that it's based on. It's basically Homer finds like a portal or a dimension, the fourth dimension, in his wall, and he ends up going into this fourth dimension, which is, completely different to our own space and time. And it completely turns from animation to 3D, and it's unreal. I mean, even still, 20 odd years later, how many years it's been? Nearly 30 years now.
Was that 95? Did you say that came out? So
26 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It still looks great.
It's so good.
When Homer steps into that fourth dimension, he turns from animation into like a 3D model.
And it's crazy. It's like when he's saying how like fat he is.
I know.
It's so man, it's great and just the world that he's in, like all the wee jumping around shapes, and there's like a lamppost that's like bending, and
it reminded me of Tron. The film Tron. It's got like the lines,
the grid space, and
it's like there's prisms and stuff, and it's just bizarre. There's so much going on behind Homer that you don't really understand, and then he eventually comes across a black hole.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it was actually...
He makes it, doesn't he? He ends up getting... He gets a cone, jabs him in the arse, and he pulls out and throws it, jabs into the ground, and then all starts to sink in and becomes that kind of endless prism black hole diagram thing that you see. A thingy.
A thingy thing.
An endless tunnely thingy. And then
that's based on... The film, the Disney film called The Black Hole.
Black Hole.
And I think it's sort of obviously they took visuals from Tron as well, and they had that idea as well. But he falls down the black hole eventually. But he's communicating with Marge. She can hear his voice, obviously, but she doesn't know where the fuck he's at. And
they
then
can all hear the voice in the house.
The priest and all comes in, and
it's when the priest asks him, he's like, Homer, do you see a light? And Homer's like, yes. And he's like, go into it. It's electrocuted.
Go into the light, aye. And then who else? The doctor's there.
The doctor, what's the doctor's name?
I know. No. So bad with names.
That's going to annoy me. But he's like, Homer is your physician.
Uh-huh. And then the wee scientist is there, and he's trying to explain what a black hole is. And Wiggum's like, Arr! He takes his gun out and tries to shoot the wall, and the bullets go through. And Homer sees the bullets actually come towards him in the black hole, and it's fucking brilliant. Really, really smart, I think.
So good. Such a good episode. And then they're trying to decide send somebody in after him. And they're saying it's too dangerous, and then Bart just goes for it. He ties a rope around himself, and he goes for it, and he climbs up the wee 3D animated lamppost to try and reach for Homer. And was like, Homer, you're going to have to jump. And Homer's like, oh, that'll be no problem for me, boy. Fucking jumps straight into the hole.
He doesn't even jump, though. He just walks, and then he just falls. And then he starts coming apart because it's like a black hole.
And he's just like, crap.
But even before that, sorry, when I was talking about Wiggum, the line that he says, the scientist, I can't remember the scientist's name, but he draws a square on the wall, and he's like, here is a square. And Wiggum's like, whoa. Settle down, egghead. And it's just like, he's just drawing a fucking square. What is it he says? Slow down, egghead.
Is it the Professor Fink?
It's the professor. I can't remember his name. Great fucking line. Just Wiggum's great. Some of the stuff he comes out with is amazing.
Simpsons, man. I love this. Even when we forget their names, they're still great characters. Such good characters. But yeah, that one, I love. Even because Patty and Selma are there. Is it not he decides to go into it because Patty and Selma have arrived? Is that not how it starts? He finds it, and he's not going to go into it, and then Patty and Selma arrive, so he goes into it then to get away from them.
He's trying to hide from them, and he tries the closet first, but Bart and Lisa are in there.
That's right.
I need to find somewhere else because he wants to get away from them.
When Marge is like, Homer, do you see towels? You could be in the linen closet again.
I know. That's right. There's a great line here when Homer falls down the black hole, and he's like, oh, I wish I'd read that book from that wheelchair guy.
That's right.
I was just like, fuck, that didn't age well. It's
Stephen Hawking, boys.
But I love the bit where when Bart finally goes in, they tie like a rope around Bart, don't they? And then he goes in. And it kind of reminded me of Stranger Things. Whenever Stranger Things did that
when
years
they go
later,
upside down and all.
Yeah, they tie a rope and they sort of go in and they hold the rope and they're following it and they're making sure. So I wonder, did they get that idea from that? I'm sure loads of other places or loads of other shows have done stuff like that before.
Simpsons predicted it.
Yeah,
they predict everything.
Unless this was taken from that Twilight Zone episode, and that's where Stranger Things got their idea. But whenever Homer falls, so he falls into pieces. His eyes come out and his face and his arms and all fall into pieces.
His wee mouth, the wee pops off just everything.
He falls into a dumpster.
He falls. Yeah, he comes to the real world. He's in our world, the actual real world. It's all live action, and he's still a 3D model. They're walking in, and it's the people like reacting around him as well when he's walking down the street. And he's like freaking out. And then he sees a fucking erotic cake shop. He sees, erotic cakes.
Hello.
That's how the episode ends.
So random.
Going to this erotic cake shop, and there's like, what is it? There's like a cake with like an ass on it, and then just others. What way to end the episode?
I thought it was class that they went from animation to 3D, and then they went from 3D to like the actual real life live action. It's fucking great. I wonder where they filmed that in this what street they filmed that. Yeah, because I was kind of thinking, did they just use footage from something else and then they just put Homer in there?
Yeah.
Or I wonder, did they actually film it and we're like, you have to pretend that someone's walking down? But I'm not sure. If anyone knows, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. We must have a wee nosy, but yes, if anybody knows,
fantastic.
Pop it down in the comments.
I don't think we have to ask what our favourite segment was, Danny.
I mean, if you got to go, so the first Treehouse of Horror 5 is got to be the Shinning for me.
The Shinning.
Shinning, because we don't want to get sued. And then for Treehouse of Horror 6, it's got to be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Evergreen Street. I would probably go. Obviously Nightmare and Evergreen Street, and then probably go Shinning as well. That's my favorite from the previous episode. We'll have to maybe do a best of whenever we get to the end.
We've watched a few more.
Season 30. We'll try to make a compilation of our favorites so far, or maybe when we get to episode 10. Every 10 episodes.
Yeah. Try and
we'll make a list of our favorite segments and put it out on the social medias and stuff, and we'll ask you guys to do it as well, hopefully, and you can kind of interact.
Let us know what your favorites are. But in the meantime, let us know. We have asked before, but who are your favorite Simpsons characters? Do you have any that you hold particularly close to your heart? For me, it's Ralph Wiggum, Grandpa Simpson, and Groundskeeper Willie are the three that I think I hold a particular special place in my heart for. As I said, the Homer episodes tend to be my favorite, but in terms of characters, those three are my.
Yeah, I do love Homer, but I think because he's like a main character, you see him all the time, and sometimes it is a wee bit kind of oversaturated. Obviously, he's the main character, but him and Bart are kind of the main characters. But I would definitely go Burns as mine, and then Willie. There's a few other side characters there. I quite like Bo. And,
Chief Clancy Wiggum.
Yeah, Wiggum's great. Wiggum's good.
Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob, normally his episodes are usually really good too.
I think Wiggum's got great one-liners.
Fantastic.
And he said some amazing one-liners in this. So I'd probably go with Wiggum as my third then. But yeah, let us know who your favourite characters are and what segment you enjoyed the best out of the ones that we spoke about today. But that's all we've got time for today. We'll be back with another episode next week. We actually we're going to do another film today, but we decided to go with The Simpsons because we're just in the mood for The Simpsons, and we just thought, fuck it, let's do Treehouse of Horror. So next week we'll get back
to our regular viewing.
Back to one of the horror films we'll do next week. We're looking forward to chatting about that. But as always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Fright Club NI. Check out the website, www.thefrightclubni.com. Check out the t-shirts. We've sold quite a few t-shirts so far, and patches. We've got a wee t-shirt patch combo on there. So check that out at the website, and just keep following us and keep telling your horror pals about us, and comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Hit the bell icon
there.
Get your little dangalings wherever they are.
Every week I'm like, I must look to see where the fucking bell's at. I think it's up here somewhere.
I think it's an opposite the subscribe. No, do not subscribe.
No, it's a way up here. I think subscribe's here. Or here. Sorry, subscribe's here. I think the bell's up here. I don't know. It's somewhere about there. Just subscribe. Show us some love. We're doing this for free. We don't make any money.
For now.
for now. Unless you want to give us money. You can send a wee tip our way on the website too if you want to do that. Buy us a coffee. And
buy us a donut.
Buy us a donut.
Buy us a donut.
Colossal donut, yes. Well, next week we'll be eating donuts. And
I swear to God, see, if somebody sent us donuts, like they get a big shout out, like
they would definitely get. You'll get for every donut you send us, we'll give you one shout out.
We'll give you a shout out.
I know. So if you send us 6, we'll give you 6 shout outs. So we're not saying you have to send us 6 donuts.
No.
Because
it'd be nice.
But it'll be great. I mean, we'll actually eat them on the episode as well.
Live on air.
Yeah, live on air.
Donut.
That's never been done before. We promise we'll eat donuts for you. Yeah. What else can we? No, we're not going to go down that route. We're not going to.
Not yet. Not until we get desperate.
I know. We'll see. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who's bought t-shirts so far,
100%.
and
thank you.
Just everyone that shows us some love. So we really do appreciate the sort of family that we have, Danny. We call them family now, don't we? They're peeps and creeps.
Our peeps and creeps are Frights.
Frights, our Fright Club family. So we appreciate all the love. But anyway, we'll see you next week, guys. Take care. Stay safe. All the best.
Bye.